Today's shir is being sponsored L'Refuas Yerachmiel Ben Yocheved. So what happened was an individual sent us an email, and before I get the email, somebody from the MDY team reads it, and he showed it to another guy from the MDY team, and before you know it, people got together to sponsor 2 full days of shir L'Refuas Alti Yerachmiel Ben Yocheved. He's an 8-year-old kid with a brain tumor, one of the guys that watches the shir all the time, so the kid should have a refuah shlema b'karov. Second sponsor, l'schus shel Rav Goyin Chosid Adim. I didn't write this. This is how I just take it and paste. L'schus shel Rav Goyin Chosid Adim ben Rivka Leo Even Yisrael Steinsaltz. Shakosh Baruch Yishlach lo refuah shlema b'karov mamish. Amen. Sponsored by Shmuley Hershkovitz in honor of my good friend Larry Kozowski. 20 years ago, my wife and I moved to Dallas to join the Kollel, and Larry and his family were in the early years of their journey. Today, I still live in the Big D, Dallas, and we both learn in the same shir. Larry, you're a true inspiration. Is he referring to our shir? I hope, maybe, who knows. P.S. Larry is originally from Wisconsin and a die-hard Packer fan. So, Eli, feel free to hate on him when the NFL starts, since you're from Chicago. I watch sports, I like sports, but I'm not a fan of any particular team because I don't believe in that really. In other words, when I have the time to watch sports, one day. All right, here we go. Where are we holding? So, let's talk a little bit about the Siyum. Very, very exciting. Many people sent in videos, Baruch Hashem, yesterday. We're looking for many more. The website is looking nicer and better these days. On the website, there's a tab, one of the buttons is right there as you open up the website. It says get a Yid involved or something, and you could click on that and it'll give you an ad. And you could print that ad, or it didn't work so well for me yesterday, but maybe something's wrong with my printer. But anyway, you could do a trick, whatever. Print that thing, it's a beautiful ad, put it out somewhere in your shul or whatever. The new ad for the Siyum, we didn't do an ad for upcoming Erevin, that will also be there Be'ezer Hashem today. We had one yesterday, I didn't like it that much, I want them to redo it. Wow, it's already 7:20. I would like to show you one of my favorite videos that came in. A lot of them came in. Phil Rosenblatt had a beautiful video. We had a celebrity from a famous speaker send in a video yesterday. Another famous speaker called me up and said he wants to send one in. So very exciting stuff. I want to show you just a typical average guy. I love this guy. I want to show you what it sounds like. Obviously it's all about me, so it's just a phenomenal video. But you can mix it up. You can talk about the mishpacha, the camaraderie, da-da-da-da. But here, this is only 40 seconds. This is instead of email today.
Daf Yomi, the beginning of brachas, it was not enjoyable for me. Not one bit. Until I found Rebelli Shir. When I found Rebelli Shir, it's been a mechaya. It's the most beautiful and most pleasant experience learning the daf. Reb Eli is crystal clear. He is fun. He's geschmack. He brings the daf to life. He brings his pictures, everything. Reb Eli with his stories, his emails. I feel like I'm a part of the entire. It's not just a shir. It's a family. It's a chabura. We're one. Mazel tov to everybody. Mazel tov to my brothers. To everybody. Mazel tov. Mazel tov. Mazel tov. Mazel tov.
I also like the way he said to my brother and he stopped right there because there are some sisters that are watching. So he gave them a little bit of a shout out, but not a complete one. Anyway, so that's a great one. You know what? I got to continue a little bit. We're learning Torah over here. We're learning from this unbelievable email. Where am I holding here? The Gishmak, fine. Rabbi Meir Shapiro instituted Daf Yomi in the Knessia Gdoil in Vienna. He said the following: the universal learning of the same daf will bring achdus wherever a Jew will travel. From Poland to the United States or worldwide, wherever a Jew will find himself, by entering the shul congregation will find the same daf being learned. It will be Ma'ached Klal Yisrael. MDY of RBS, Rabbi Eli Stefansky Shir is Ma'ached Klal Yisrael daily. It reached the highest level of being ma'achet, so many Jews from different types, different color, different background, Hasidim, Misnagdim, Sfardim, Gronikim, Mizrachi, Tziyonim, businessmen, Koilim, Gelait, Rabbanim, Bnei Yeshivas, Pashati Yidin. Fine. To be continued, because we're running out of time. There's only 3 more pages, Rabbi Stein. All right, unless I get a Muradic email, I'll knock this one out and we'll go back to it later. But we have to be Messiah Shas with this email. So, send in your selfie videos. 1 minute. We're going to 1 minute now. Try to pack it in 1 minute. Doesn't matter how it looks, where it looks. Do it, and then you'll understand about the 8-minute daf, what it means to talk into a camera to yourself. It's geschmack. Ima neicha b'tzara. Says the Gemara, Daf Kufnun Beis Amud Beis. Today's Daf Kufnun Gimel, only 5 days away from the actual siyum of Masechta Shabbos. Chaparai when you can, this unbelievable Masechta. What is it? 10 days to the physical, the siyum that we are going to be making. August 16th. Oh, and again, and if you missed this, you go online on the website, 8minute, spelled full, minute, daf, 8minutedaf.com. And over there you'll see the whole list of people in your neighborhood, in your over 100 locations. Call them, speak to them, join them. Continue with some Agadata. The Tzduki, heretic, told Rebavo, Amritu nishmosum shel tzadikim gnuzis tachas kisa hakavod. You just said that a tzaddik's neshama gets put right under the Akadosh Baruch Hu's kisa hakavod. If so, oiva tamya heicha aske l'shmuel ben Agida. The famous story that Shaul, before he went to war, he wanted to know what's going to happen, what the outcome, will he survive? And nobody answered him. He couldn't get a clear answer from Akadosh Baruch Hu, so he did something illegal. He went to the witchcraft. He went to the oiv. The oiv is a person who takes a bone and somehow is able to grab an neshama, and he grabbed Shmuel to tell him what's going on. But how could he do so? Yaakov Rosedale, Shalom Aleichem, it's great to see you. If Shmuel was in the Kisei HaKavod, right where he belongs, Shmuel, one of the greatest Jews that ever lived, his place is certainly by the Kisei HaKavod. How could a simple Russia grab him away from the Kisei HaKavod with a bone? It doesn't add up. The taina is a good taina. Within 12 months of a person's ptira, you could do so. The neshama goes up and down. There's some sort of elevator, or maybe you have wings. They go up and down, and he was able to grab him as he was coming down. Haguf bottle. Once 12 months is over, when the body disintegrates, sponsored by Kalman from the 5 towns, not a true sponsorship, stam a geschmack sponsorship. Omar, so that's it. So once the body decomposes, the neshama goes up, it'll never come back down again. As Tosfos, what we just had by Reb Achi Bar Yoshia, says Tosfos. He started snorting at the people digging in the backyard of Nachman. Says Tosfos, you're right. If the neshama feels like coming down, it can come down, but typically it stays up. Rav Yehuda Bereder Rav Shmuel Bar Shelas. Listen to the names here. Rav Yehuda, the son of Rav Shmuel, the son of Shelas. He says in the name Shmei the Rav. He says in the name of Rav. Mes peidoy shel adam nikor im ben ahoylam haba im lav. You could tell from a hesped of a person whether or not he belongs in olam haba. There's a good joke they say. Because in those days they used to hire maspidim. You go like get us fancy, like we're hiring a great speaker for the siyum. You hire a good maspid. So the guy goes over to the maspid and says, "Listen, I'm about to die. How much is a good hesped?" He says, "A good hesped, $20,000." So he says, $20,000. What can I get for 10? He says, 10. I'll say this and that. Good stuff. He says, and what can I get for 1,000? He says, for 1,000, I'm going to tell you the truth. He So anyway, so they used to have these maspidim that would get the oilam into it. They didn't know the guy from Beans. Yeah, they would just cry and command make people get into it. But I'm not saying that they said lies here, but from what they say about a person, they're not going to say about a mafia guy, what a nice guy he was, and the imam, he cared about humans, and they're not going to say that. From a person, from the way you're maspid, you can tell who you are and if you're a ben olam haba. I don't know, but to me it seemed like, from this whole sugya, and I didn't see it anywhere, so I might be completely off, so don't even quote me. It just seems like if people say good things about you, even if you're not maybe the best guy in the world, HaKadosh Baruch Hu listens to that. It's very important what people say about, you see it in different sugyas. What do people say about him? And it could be that, because certain things in the sugya bothered me, like who cares what they said in the hesped? Who cares if he's a ben olam? He's a ben olam. He'll get up there, they'll decide. What, you have to judge him? Maybe it helps a little bit when people say, oh, what a great guy, he's not a good guy. And that kind of gives him a push in there. Don't know. So here, Rav, he's the originator of this memra, that from a person's hesped, it says, Rav Yehuda, Bereder Rav Shmuel, Bar Shelas, Mishmei Rav. So comes Va'amar Rav, the Rav Shmuel Bar Shelas. Rav told directly Shmuel, the son of Shelas. Not Rav Yehuda, the son of Shmuel Bar Shelas. Achim ba'aspeido. Achim is a lashon of not brothers, but warmth. Make sure you warm up the hesped. The hosam ka'amina. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be present by my hesped. I need you to do a good job. Make sure they cry. Question is, if Rav, who's the Gadol Adar, why do you need the maspid to warm them up? People are going to say about Rav that he's the Gadol Adar. Says Gemara like Kasha. Explains Rashi that Rav was old. He died at a nice age. So when people die when they're older, people don't cry that much. Rav wanted the olam to get into it and to cry. So if he's on a level, he's a gadol ador, and I warm them up nicely, I know how to invoke some emotion, some tears, then it's better for Rav. Here's a guy that they try real hard and they're pressing all the right buttons, but nobody's crying because everybody knows we're talking about a jokester over here. I was once in a levaya, I'm not kidding you, in Chicago, from guy, and somebody got up there and spoke and says, he reminds me of so-and-so from the Brady Bunch. Like, what? Like, why are you talking about TV? And is this important now? This is what the neshama wants to hear? Whatever. Anyway, the you hear what's going on here? Abai tells Rabbah, everybody in Pumbedisa hates you. Rabbah was the Rav over there, and they all hated him because he used to rebuke everybody, to give everybody Musa, says Rashi. Manachim is Peda. It's very important, I see. You have to get people warmed up, people have to cry at the hesped. Rabbah, we're talking about Rabbah, not a Gadol Adar also, Rabbah. Who's going to cry for you? I'm happy enough with you, Abaya and Rabbi Bar Rav Chanan, to give me a hesped, it'll be fine. I don't care about the rest of the guys that hate me. Let them hate me. You know, it's like, it's enough that the Chavetz Chaim and the Chazon Ish are crying about me. It's enough. It's like, well, these are the Gdolei Adar that are crying. Obviously it's enough, but you also are concerned about the Hamayinam. What is the rest of the community doing? How come they're not crying? They're going to start thinking, what's going on here? Why don't people care that Rabbi was nifter? It's like it's a chesaron in Rabbi sort of. And he says, I don't mind that. I did my job. They hate me for the right reason. They hate me because I gave them Musar. Now, it's their problem that they're not crying. Oh my lay. Says the Gemara, By minei Rabbi Elazar Mirav, Izu ben olam haba. Who's a ben olam haba? Omar lei va'oznecha tishmanu davar me'acharecha lemar. Again, it's very interesting. A ben olam haba should be somebody that does all the mitzvahs and doesn't do averis. Ben olam haba. What do you mean? Va'oznecha tishmanu davar me'acharecha lemar. You're going to hear them talking about you behind your back. This is the way. You want to be like so-and-so. This guy that just died, I wish I was like him. Oh, if they say that, then he's a ben olam haba. Kitaminu If you go to the right, v'chitas mi'ilu. If you go to the left, either way, you go like this guy. Then you go to. So you see, for some reason, what people say in this world at the levaya makes a difference. Again, I might be completely off. I know after shir, Norm is going to send me something that I was wrong. That was my own hargasha here. If his Rebbe, his Rabbeim are happy with him, not HaKadosh Baruch Hu, his Rabbeim, it says in the pasuk, it says in the pasuk, the person dies, he goes this way, he goes to Shemayim, the people that are down there giving him a spadim, they go back into the marketplace. Do things, maisim, in this world, that the people standing in front of your coffin, in front of the arayin, they should say good things about you. You know, the famous, I forgot where I read it, there's a whole book written about this. Like, how should you live your life? Live your life like you want them to discuss at your funeral. What do you want them to say at your funeral? That you're good in business, that you knew how to steal from people. What do you want them to say? You're a good photographer. Like, what's the nakuda? You have to focus on the nakuda. What do you want them to say? That you learned. I just got an email. There's somebody's yard site soon coming up on Chavav. It says on his matzeva that he learned Shas twice. Beautiful. That's what you want them to say about you at the levaya. You learned Shas twice. That's amazing. Not he's similar to the Brady Bunch. In Yehuda they would say, do things that when they talk about you behind your bed. So one is in front of the bed, one's behind the bed. Some places the sapta and the guy that gives the hesped stands in front of the mita, and sometimes they stand behind. But the idea is the same. Do things that will create a good hesped, that people will say nice things about you. Famous Gemara, Reb Lezer says you should do tshuva one day before you die. Sholu Talmidav is Reb Lezer. What a person knows when he's going to die. What day should he do that? On Tuesday, the 30th of the month, like when? Every single day you have to do tshuva. And like that, he'll make sure that his entire life he's in tshuva. Like the famous Gemara in Avodah Zarah, I had this discussion with somebody. A certain guy told me that he did a tremendous aveira, real big aveira, and therefore he's not from anymore. I told him you could do tshuva. The Gemara in Avodah Zarah is 3 times. Rebbe cried about Rishoyim, the biggest Rishoyim. A guy went to every single Mokum Asr in the world, and he died. Right before he died, he did tshuva. Bachar Rebbe. You could always do tshuva for any avera, for anything, even a shesish. You could do tshuva, and you do tshuva and into kol yama v'tshuva. You have to understand though. Then what does it mean? Aseres made tshuva. Why are there 10 designated days? What a person knows that he's going to die right after that. You have to do tshuva every day. Fine. Your neshama should always be white. V'shemen al roishcha al yechsan. You should always have oil. This is a parable, a mashal to a king that he invited his servants to a meal. He never told them when. The smart ones, they put on their best clothing and they waited for the king to call them. You'd work in this world, you do mitzvahs, you learn Torah, and then you wait. You never know. You never know when it's going to happen. A king is not missing anything. He could just dish up a meal in a second, and we're ready to go. The shaitim, they went to work, they went to do averis. It's going to take time. That's a typical human being. I'm for sure going to live 70 years, probably 90, but for sure 70. So I have a lot of time to do tshuva and start learning Torah. I'll do it later. B'pitom, suddenly, like my dear neighbor, Mrs. Epstein, suddenly, like this. She's smiling to me in the elevator on one day, and 2 days later, she's nifter. Nobody knows when it's going to happen. Rabbi Isai. All of a sudden he calls you up. Come. The smart ones were all dressed up and they're ready to go. The shaitim come with their painter's jeans and their torn shirts. They're in the middle of working, and he chapped them like that. So the Akash Baruch Hu was very happy with the smart ones, and not very happy with the shaitim. By the way, I told my chavrusa what I said in the shir, and he said that I was mechaven to a mashal. There's a mashal. He said that a guy was best friends with the Yetzer Hara, with the Satan, best friends. And he tells the Satan, since we're such good buddies, do me one favor. Right before you kill me, give me a head-up notice. Just let me know. So the Satan said, no problem, I'll let you know. So one day the guy is driving in his car, and he flies off a cliff and dies. So he tells the Yetzer Hara, he tells the Satan, what's wrong with you? You promised me. He said, I kept my promise. I gave you a white beard. That was hint number 1. You started limping. That was hint number 2. I told you I'm coming to get you. You just didn't take the hints. Zog the Gemara. Chasoni shur meir mishum Rav Meir Omar. What is this? I don't know what this is. Okay. Chasoni shur meir mishum Rav Meir Omar. Afhein nirim kimishamshim. Oh, so I got to tell you a story. Ma'aseh Shahaya. 23 years ago approximately, I asked my father-in-law if I could go in to surgery with him. I wanted to see a surgery, curious stuff. So sure, I go with him in the morning. He gave me a gown, he gave me a mask. We put on the gown and the mask, and we go into the surgery, and there's a bunch of residents there that are going to do the surgery with him. He's teaching them how to do surgery, and he introduces me and he says, this is a famous professor, Professor Stefansky from New York. Stop. He's a shtickmacher, my father-in-law. So I'm thinking to myself, if I'm a professor, I got to do something cool here. So we're halfway through the surgery. The guy's neck is wide open. He's taking out a cancer from the guy's neck. And all of a sudden, in the middle of surgery, I say, stop. Don't touch that vein. Don't touch it. So everybody stops. They look at me. My father, why? I said, listen, Professor Friedman, from my experience, if you touch that, the patient doesn't survive more than 2 months. He says, oh, you mean because he starts saying words I didn't understand? You mean because the gefilte fish is on the side of the this? I'm like, yeah. He said, yeah, but listen, what you didn't chop is that there's another vein that comes from the other side, and he's fine. I said, you're 100% right, but my experience shows that this guy's not going to survive. So he says, don't listen to this guy. Let's go weiter. But nobody wanted to cut. Everybody refused. They didn't want to do it. He gives him the scalpel, says, you do it, Dr. Freeman. He says, no, I'm telling you to do it. He says, but the professor from New York said he's going to die. And it goes back and forth. Finally, I had to tell him that I'm his son-in-law. V'chulu. Says the Gemara, Chasani shur Meir, Mishur Rav Meir Omar, Afei nirim kimishamshin. Oh, sorry, I must have skipped something. Omar alo shkish zazim l'suda, yeshvu yoichle v'yishtu. How come nobody on the screen told me I skipped? That we said. King was very happy because the kras tipshim, and he was mad at the shaitim. Those who prepare themselves sit down and have a great feast. They'll eat and drink. Let them stand around and watch. Says the son-in-law of Rameir, in the name of Rameir, if you just stand around there, people might think that you're actually a surgeon, you know what you're doing, you know what you're talking about, you're part of it. Everybody gets to sit down equally. But when they give the food to people, only the ones that did Maisim Tovim get the food. So the bad guys are going to be starving, they're going to be crying, and the tzaddikim are going to be drinking the wine, and the Rishayim are going to be thirsty. My servants are going to eat, and you're going to be starving. They're going to drink, and you're going to be thirsty. My servants are going to sing from being so happy. And you're going to scream from heartache. Another pshat. At all times, your clothing should be white. Elu tzitzis, says the Marsha, the blue strings matter. That if you have tchelis in your tzitzis, great. What if you don't have tchelis? You should still wear white strings. You should have oil on your head. Al yechsar. You should always be enough. Elu tefillin, you should always wear tefillin, says Rashi. V'ro kol amei haaretz ki shem Hashem nikru alecha. When the goyim see this tefillin on your head, it's a shame. Shame is like Shem Toiv, Toiv Shem, Shem and Toiv, etc. Hadrin Allah Hashoyel. This is the final parak in Masechta Shabbos. Parak Misha Hichshich Ba'derech. There's actually, I wouldn't say the story if it wasn't a real story. There's a story where, real quickly, there's a guy that got pulled over in Europe way back when by a police officer. He says, you're Jewish, this, that. So he decided, okay, let me bribe him. So he gave him money. So the guy says, oh, you want to bribe a cop? And he arrested him and he brings him to court. And the prosecutor was a frum Jew. And the prosecutor said, what you did is wrong. You're wrong. Everything is wrong. You don't bribe a cop. How do you bribe a cop? And then the prosecutor said, Mi shehechshich baderech noisen kisel enachri. And the Jew said, yeah, but what happened was, it was Erev Shabbos. And I had a wallet on me. And I didn't know what to do with it. And this cop just happened to pull me over, and I gave him the wallet. I'm telling you, I saw the story a few times. And they say it's a true story. And the guy understood, and the guy said, really? That's what happened? Yeah, I wasn't trying to bribe him. I was just doing the halacha that I learned, and they found out there's such a halacha. If you have a wallet, you have something on you, and it turns into Shabbos, like I told you the story when I'm not going to say it now, on the way to Pesach, I got stuck on a bus when Shabbos came in. If you have a guy available, best thing to do is give it to the guy. Second best, you put it on a donkey. The Gemara is going to discuss why one is better than the other, what kind of yisurim are you over here, Amir Lenachri, the mechamer, lava mechamer, to make a donkey carry something for you. Once you come to a secure place, then you just take whatever you could take that's not muktzah, but all the muktzah, then you do one of these. Basically, right over here, you have like a little buckle that's smack in the middle. We had this in the beginning of the Sechta. You undo it, and then everything falls off to the side. I had such a good pshat on Venosnu yesterday. As soon as I finished, but I can't say it now, there's not enough time. Says the Gemara, says the Gemara. My time is shortly Rabbanon. Why is it allowed to give your wallet to a guy? What about Amir La'akom? He becomes your shliach, says Rashi. He's doing exactly for you. That's awesome. Says the Gemara, an amazing concept. We know that a person won't be able to withhold himself. He can't stand there and watch his money go down the tubes. He'll come up with every heter in the world. We didn't want not to save his money. It's an unbelievable concept. We wanted to save this individual from an avera. So we took off the avera. We're chachamim. We made an avera that you can't tell a guy. I take off that avera in this case because I know he's not going to be able to withhold himself. I only make a gzera where Jews could do it. If they can't do it, my gzera is off. Omar Rava, dafka kisai, only a wallet. But if you find something, you can't give it to a guy. Pshita kisai tnan. It says in the Mishnah, a wallet. I think it's the same thing. That's typical. You forget your wallet in your pocket. How often does somebody find money? And this is only if it didn't come to you. In other words, you found something but you didn't pick it up. But once you pick it up, then it becomes yours. You would think that maybe you're not emotionally involved. You didn't work your heart out to make this money. It just came easy, so maybe you should lose it easy. No. Some people learn it very differently. The outcome is very different. It's the same thing, but the outcome is a teiku. What if I find something? Since it's his now, it's like a wallet. Since you don't have any emotional investment in this or physical investment in it, Just give it up. Torah says, don't take it, don't take it. Take it. We don't know. At the end of the day, the halacha is that a wallet is like, a metzia is like a wallet. If you don't have a guy, what do you do? My timer. If you have a donkey and a guy, you have a choice. Put it on the donkey, put it on the guy. What do you do? Guy. Why? So if you say Kiddush before Shabbos morning, uvemtecha is what we're trying to get to. You are mitzvah on shvisas behema. It doesn't say v'hanachri uvemtecha. So you have a chiyuv that he shouldn't be Michal Shabbos, your animal. What if chamor v'cherish shoyte v'katan? You have a donkey, you have a cherish shoyte v'katan. They're all in the group. Cherish meaning a deaf mute, so he's considered like a shoyte, doesn't have seichel, doesn't have das. V'katan. You go a chamor manachlei. L'cherish shoyte v'katan lo yavlei. You don't give it to the cherish shoyte v'katan. My taima hani adam, I love adam. You have to be chayshish that maybe you'll come to put it on a person. You're not going to differentiate. Tomorrow, next Shabbos is going to happen again. You can say, oh, I gave it to the cheresh. And then you're going to give it to a regular person. Like this, you'll remember, I gave it to the chamor. I didn't give it to a human. What if you have just two? Who are you Michal Shabbos with? The deaf mute or the shaita? L'shaita. Because the deaf mute is a regular human. The shaita, you're not going to confuse the shaita with a regular person. Shaita v'katan, what about a shaita and a katan? L'shaita, again, the katan is going to grow up and he's going to be a normal human being. The shaita will never be normal. So you can confuse the katan for the shaita, for a gadol. Ibaylu, cheresh v'katan mai. Oh, now you have two semi-bali das. It's not as bad as a shaita, but not like a regular person. So which one comes first? The deaf mute or a katan? I'll leave it to Rebbe Lezer like the Bailach. According to Rebbe Lezer, it's not such a great kasha. The sign Rebbe Lezer. Trumas, Cheresh. We're turning to Hamid Beis, Dafka from Hamid Beis, sponsored by Shia Greenfield from Green Star Electrical Contracting. So, if you're supposed to take Trumas and Maishers, but what happened was, a Cheresh took your Trumas and Maishers instead of you, what do? You can't eat it. In other words, according to Rebbe Lezer, a cheresh has the ability to give truma. It does something to it. It has an effect. Oh, so you see that he's not a complete shaita. A katan, if he does it, 0. A shaita, if he does it, 0. Cheresh, you should do it over again, but it has some effect. Kiti bayalach alib de rabbanon, desnan chamishalei troimu. But according to Rabbanon, the cheresh and the katan are in the same level. 5 shouldn't take truma. Vim tarmoin trumazim truma. It doesn't work. Elohein, cheresh, shaita, v'katan. Okay, so here you see the cheresh and the katan are all in the same category. So if a cheresh is mafresh my trumas and maestras, 0 happened. I could eat whatever he just mafresh. Pick it up, eat it. Because it has no effect at all. If I go into your basket and I take your fruit and I do you a favor and I do trumas and maestras, no effect. Unless you tell me to, then I'm your shliach. V'nachri or a goy shetar shel Yisrael, fine. I feel b'shusa even if the Jew gives him permission. A truma, it doesn't count. Says the Gemara. Here's the question: who do I give it to? The cheresh or the katan? L'cheresh yavelei the katan osi l'chaldas. It's better to be Michal Shabbos with a cheresh, a deaf mute, who in those days wasn't learned, didn't know how to speak, didn't know how to read. So he's like a shaita. But he'll never grow out of it. But a katan will grow out of it. So it's better to give it to the cheresh. The katan osi l'chaldas. The katan yavelei the cheresh osi l'chalufi begodol pikeach. Or maybe the opposite. Here's a cheresh, he's a gadol, he's mature, and you're going to confuse him with another mature person. But everybody knows that the 6-year-old that's the reason you did it with him, because he's only 6. So the Ran says you can do whatever you want. Since there's no maskana here, some say give it to the deaf mute, some say give it to the katan. Do whatever you want. What if you don't have anything? It's you and yourself. You just got off a bus in Passaic and it's Shabbos. What do? There was a great idea. We didn't want to tell anybody about it. Secret. What is the secret? Now, we that learned the Masechta, or Mamish 5 daf from the other Masechta, we know the secret. Without looking in, we know the secret. We know the concept of pachos medalad amas. You walk less than 4 amas, you stop, and then you walk again. That is not a Issa D'Oraisa. No, so such a great idea. So why are they keeping it a secret? Says the Gemara Mishum, because it says in the pasuk, "Kvoid Elokim haster davar." The honor of HaKadosh Baruch Hu should be a secret. In other words, if this is going to cause a desecration to HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name, then we don't do it. I forgot to mention, I see Yeshua busy on the chat here. Yeshua wants to achieve another 300 videos. I pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he's not successful, because I don't know what to do with so many videos. I don't think we have enough video editors in the entire Eretz Yisrael that could do it. But keep on sending your videos. Be'ez Hashem, he's not going to reach there. We got very, very good schar so far. Very happy. Thank you everybody for doing so. And yeah. But please don't reach his goal. But if a guy is very choshev, he thinks he's a choshev guy, then you could look into him and check it out. But when it comes to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not. What's the honor of Hashem? If you allow him to carry, if you allow him to do 4 less than 4 amas, he's going to carry Rishus Rabbim, and then it'll be a Chilul Hashem. Got you saw. Remember, all the way in the beginning of Masechta, Daf Yud Zayin, we spoke about Shmoina Asor, the things that in the attic of Chananya ben Chizkiah, Beis Shammai won that night. They beat Hillel on 18 different things. They made 18 zers. This that we say that you shouldn't do 4 amos is one of the things that we learned over there. It's one of the Shmona Zers of that night. Tanya Rebbe Lezer Omer, Boy Bayoim got you saw. Rebbe Lezer says it's a wonderful thing what happened that night. We helped Klal Yisrael a lot with the 18 Zeros. We helped them. I have a visitor here. Hold on 1 second. Sorry. I don't want him to disturb the shir. Okay. Boy Bayoim got you saw. It was better for Klal Yisrael. Or they added to the, instead of saying that this is a saw, they said, with a heap it's a saw. So now you just gained. You go to the store, you get more flour. In other words, it's better for Klal Yisrael. Rabbi Shoimer, machaku saw. It was no good for Klal Yisrael. What are you adding more laws? Rabbi, what's up with all the laws? It's not good for me. You took off. I used to get a whole pound of flour, now I get 3/4 of a pound. It's not good. Tanya mashal dervelez lamad david doimed. It's a mashal. Likupa meleki shum midiluim. You have a box full of gourds, adam noisin l'techa chardol, and if you add the small mustard seeds, it doesn't hurt you. You're going to gain. The mustard seeds are going to hold the gourds together. They're going to fill in all the gaps. Everything's going to be great. It's like that packing material, the foamy stuff. Mashal the Rabbi Yeshua lamad david doimed. Rabbi Yeshua says no. La reva malaya devash. It's like a bowl full of honey. If you put a pomegranate in, it's going to start spilling over the edge. What's the problem? What is the Gemara trying to tell us? When you give people too many rules and they break those rules, so they're going to become to be over Issa D'Oraisa. Tell a guy, walk 4, less than 4 amas, everything is okay. So what he was over a D'Rabbanan. But you tell him he can't even do that, so he's going to grab his wallet and run. On Shabbos, he's going to be over Issa D'Oraisa. You're causing him to be over Issa D'Oraisa. You're putting in a pomegranate into the honey and it's spilling out on the side. You lost your honey. He realizes, no, I'm making Gdarim here. And people are going to work with us and they're not going to do anything. It's going to be great. How could you put your wallet on a donkey? Mechamer, the typical mechamer is when you tell your donkey to go, you go kishta, whatever the word is in English. In Hebrew they say dio, I don't know what. The certain word, and the horse starts moving. Mechamer, you're making him work on Shabbos. This is one of the malachas. You're making him work. So how can you make a donkey carry your wallet? Says the Gemara, a very interesting answer. Something we wouldn't have thought about ourselves. So all the way on Daf Beis, Amud Aleph, in the beginning of the Masechta, we were talking about Akira and Anacha. The Isra Veitzah, and a lot of Eruvin is this. And by the way, Eruvin is a very, very Gishmak Masechta. Really good Masechta. I'm telling you, you're going to enjoy it. It's good. But there's a lot of discussion of Haitzah, Akira, and Hanacha. In order to be over on taking something out into Rishus Rabbim from Rishus Yachid, you have to lift it up. Or even walking in Rishus Rabbim 4 Amas, you have to lift something up, walk 4 Amas, and place it down. So, if you are placing this object on a walking, moving animal, you're not over on Akira. There's no Akira because it was moving. And as he's moving, you place it on the animal. Says the Gemara, very good. So you got out of the problem of Akira. The problem is you didn't really get out of it. But an animal does what an animal does. It has to relieve itself as it's walking. It's going to stop short. Animal doesn't just go straight. It's going to stop here, stop there. And when it stops and restarts, then that restart is an Akira. Vika Akira v'anocha. Says the Gemara, you got to work for you have something, you want to bring your stuff back home, you got to work for it. When it's walking, everything is great. But every time this animal stops, you need to remove it from the animal. Wait until it restarts. As it starts walking, you put it back on. That's the only way out, says the Gemara. So why do I need a donkey? As my friend is walking, I tell him, keep on walking. Come here. Reuben, walk by me. As you're walking, I'm going to put it on your shoulder. So says the Gemara, very interesting. What if you yourself, Reuben, was walking by himself and he sees something on the floor? As he's walking, he picks it up and keeps on walking. Is that an Akira? Yes. It's only not an Akira when you put it on Reuben. But Reuben doesn't have to be standing still in order to lift it off the ground. He can be walking. Okay. So in other words, the reason why if Reuben is walking by you and you put it on him and he continues to walk, there's no Isser here. There's only one reason. It's because Shnaim Shasu. It's because 2 people participated in one Isser Malacha. There's an Akira and a Hanacha, and 2 people did it. So you're Potter. What does Potter mean? All through Shabbos we learned Potter means Potter Aval Aser. It's an Isser D'Rabbanan to do what you're doing. But when it comes to a donkey, there's no Isser D'Rabbanan for me to put it on the donkey because he has no Isser. He has no problem of picking something up while he's walking. There's no concept of Shnaim Shosu by a donkey. You and your donkey cannot be over Isser D'Oraisa together. You can't be a shutaf with him in Isser D'Oraisa. Only you and your friend could combine together to do Isser, and that's also D'Rabbanan. But you and your donkey, there's no Isser D'Rabbanan. And therefore, Mutar L'Chatchila. So let me ask you a question. Mutar L'Chatchila, what? L'Chatchila? For no reason, as my donkey is walking by me, I'll just take my watermelon and put it on his... No. If there's a hefsed mammon, a great monetary loss, then there's a mutar l'chatchila. Mutar l'chatchila doesn't mean literally you're permitted to, in your situation, then it's better to go with the donkey over the human being friend. Let's just do another 4 lines here. Omer Avada Barahava. Tomorrow's daf is very short, simple. If your package was on your shoulder, what? You're stuck. Erev Shabbos, it happens. You forgot. You didn't realize. Shkia, oi. So if you start running and everybody sees you running with a box, it's not normal for you to do so. That's a shinoi. And you just keep on running. You don't stop for a second. Then machlokes rishonim, if that applies also to a wallet that nobody notices and they'll think you're running stam because you want to make it the shul. They don't see that you're running because you're carrying something. Says the Gemara Daf Garot, and it's only if you run. But if you go slowly, not. That's not a shinui, that's not a heker. You might come to do an akir v'anocha. But when you arrive at your destination, you have to stop a little bit to open up the front door. You can't just run right through the front door in one shot, so you're going to stop. You're going to stop, you're going to do an akira and hanacha from Rishus HaRabim into Rishus HaYachid. Says the Gemara, the Zarek Le'klachayad. As you get to your house, you turn around, you do one of these 180 basketball moves, and you just take your thing off your shoulder, toss it into the backyard. If you're going to go forwards, that's normal. But since you're backwards, that's not a normal way of doing it. Klachiyad, and therefore you are potter. Have a wonderful Geshmak day. Noam. Tillim, anybody? No Tillim. Okay. Where is Noam? He's not on anymore? Shema Alois is so nice. I think I'm going to go to Israel. Hamokim yirachem aleim yitzir mitzor levacho mafela la'oiro mishubi legeula hashto b'agalo b'zman koriv v'nimar amen. Alta Yerachmiel ben Yocheved should have a refuah shleima. Amen. Yeah, what were you saying, Yeshua?
That yesterday's shir you spoke about Zoris and the Nazis and everything, and the Kalva Rebbe in Yerushalayim, he was nifter I think a year ago or less, and they gave him a shot, and he couldn't have kids, and I don't know if you know the whole story. No.
Amazing, Maisa, amazing. Shkoyach, Yeshua. But you know, Yeshua, we don't go back to yesterday's daf. I don't know if you listened to the shir, but yesterday's daf is off limits. Yeah.
Today's daf with the stand putter, that was like from the beginning of Shabbos.
Oh, very good, Yeshua, very good. Oh, so you listen also. I thought you were busy getting people to get videos.
No, we're working on something more important than videos, but I hope everyone, and it was new people, Aaron Block, he is new here, I didn't have his name or number, it wasn't about clips that way, not everything is just about the clips. And also Avrami, there's Aaron Black here, he's on now still, and Aaron, and there's someone else here. I'm trying to find new people also. Kiva Brett never texted me before in his life.
Very nice, Aaron Black, Shalom Aleichem. Hey, wait a minute! I used to play basketball. There was an Aaron Black in Teretz Mima, was a very good basketball player. Is that him? Maybe not.
Simon Cohn's whole video could be longer than a minute. Only if he does some professional stuff in it.
Wow!
He's gonna sing. He's gonna sing a thank you or something.
Oh, Dr. Allen is on. Dr. Allen had some sort of nigging going on in the background.
Really? Did you like the song the guy sang to you yesterday?
Which song? Oh, yeah. Don't give it away. Don't give it away. Listen, you got to mix it up a little bit. You got to mix it up.
I got him to send it twice.
Oh, Sam Hirschkowitz. Shalom Aleichem. How do you pronounce your name? I hope I said it right. I said Hirschkowitz. Is that how you say it? Huh?
No, Hirschkowitz is how you say it.
Oh, so I don't know. I think I said it, but I didn't. I kind of mumbled the Hirschkowitz. Okay. Hirschkowitz, Gewaldig, Yishkoyach, thank you for the sponsorship.
They're from the south end of Dallas. We need people
in
the north end of Dallas.
Time out. So Sam, when you say that you go to the same shear as Larry, you talking about this year? Or
Actually, no, it's this year. I should have clarified it, but I thought I was the only one in Dallas that listened to your shir. And usually I skip the introductions and the emails. And one day I listened and you announced all the different cities that were hosting. You said, Dallas, Texas, Larry Kozowski. So that's how I learned Larry was in the share. So I called him up.
I hope you learned something else also. I hope you learned that you don't skip the emails. You don't skip those emails. They're very essential. I'm kidding.
Just for the emails.
And there are people that skip the first 5 minutes. They do a quick skip and they go straight to Torah. Listen.
Ever message me?